Hey, it's me again, David Michaels. Hello, if we haven't met yet, it's good to meet you. On this channel, we talk about personal growth and spirituality, connecting with God, and all kinds of stuff around that, finding your life purpose, etc. So, I want to share with you a story today because I'm continually learning and growing too. I'm far from perfect. I don't know it all. I'm growing too, and I want to share with you something that I just had an experience, something I learned this week that I think might be helpful to you as well. So uh, it was Monday morning, and I'm waking up and I'm thinking about all I have to do that day. And, in case you don't know, I'm a writer and actor and film director and producer. A lot of creative stuff that's very fulfilling, but also demands a lot of time and mental energy and emotional energy. And it's a lot of work, right? But I love it. So I was thinking about all I had to do. In particular, there was a story I was working on at the time that was like half finished, and I wanted to put some more into it. Um, but I just had no energy for it. Like I had just woken up. I hadn't done anything else yet that day, and I'm just thinking about what I need to do. And I was already empty. I was already depleted and just exhausted. And truth be told, I've been feeling pretty tired and depleted and exhausted for a while now, from just doing too much, from always hustling and go, go, go and create, create, create and work, work, work. I'm sure you've experienced the same thing at some point, maybe right now in your life. So I still wanted to do it. I still had to do it. I was praying for motivation, for inspiration, for energy. And that's when my angel told me, hey, get up out of bed and go look outside the window. I'm like, okay, what's that have to do with finding inspiration to work on this story? And he's like, just trust me, just get up and just look outside. I'm like, okay. So I do it, and I'm looking out the window, and my angel asks me, okay, tell me what you see. And I'm thinking, like, okay, maybe this is like an exercise for grounding and being in the present moment and something like that, right? So I play along, and I'm like, okay, well, I see a sidewalk and a tree and some fallen leaves. And my angel said, okay, stop there. Tell me about those leaves. Focus on the leaves. Like, why are there, just like dead leaves on the ground? And I was like, well, because it's wintertime and it's cold. There's not much, the regular amount of sunlight or rainfall or warmth that a tree would normally want to grow and thrive in, the right kind of environment, right? It's the wrong time of year to be growing. And that's when my angel said, exactly. Now apply it to yourself, right? Just like the tree, I go through seasons. And there's spring seasons and summer and fall and winter, and they might be short, they might be long, they might be like really significant and severe, they might be very mild, but I am a part of nature. I'm in a human body, and I go through seasons. And it was more than just a season and a cycle. We focused on the environment itself, because like what makes the winter season, right? Like it's shorter daylight hours, it's colder temperatures. There's everything goes into hibernation. There's a reason for that, because resources are more limited, are more scarce. Whether that's sunlight or rainfall or warm temperatures, whatever the case might be, there's a reason plants don't grow much in the winter. There's a reason why animals will hibernate through the winter. Because as my angel was talking to me, he was like, think about it, like the tree could choose in this, analogy here. Like imagine it said, I don't care that it's winter. I need to constantly be growing anyway. I need to push through this. I need to overcome this, break through. And the tree could still keep pushing itself to grow, but it would deplete all its reserves, all the resources it had, it would overextend itself, overexert itself. It would become more and more exhausted because it's running low on its nutrients and resources because the environment isn't replenishing it. And eventually, if that goes on long enough, it will exhaust all of its resources, all of its nutrients, and have nothing left to grow with and die. Instead, the very wise trees and the rest of nature says, you know what, now's not a time for me to be replenishing those resources very quickly and easily. There's limited resources in my environment. So maybe now's the time to kind of withdraw, retreat, take a break, rest, sleep. Stop growing for a little while and just kind of ride through this season. And then knowing later, at some point, sooner or later, the sun will be out for longer, more hours of the day. It'll get those fresh spring showers that bring water and nutrients into the soil, warmer conditions. And when the tree senses, hey, my environment's improving, the world around me is becoming more conducive to my growth, it grows new leaves, it grows taller, bigger, stronger, and as it grows, because it takes energy, it takes resources, it takes nutrients, it takes effort to grow. Whether you're a tree or an animal or a human being. And if your environment is replenishing that, is supporting that, is nurturing you as you grow, great. You don't overexert your resources. You don't deplete yourself because whatever resources you're spending to grow, you're immediately refilling, you're immediately recharging. So my angel was saying to me, whether I liked it or not, whether I wanted it to be true or not, in my personal life right now, I was in a winter environment that there was limited resources, limited conditions that would nurture and support my growth right now. And the best thing for me, whether I wanted to do this or not, was to slow down, take it easy, go be gentle on myself, take a nap, give myself a break, a day off, whatever whatever is applicable in your particular case. For me, I'm writing a story. Like, did I have to do it that day or even that week? I'm a fast writer. When my internal creative resources are recharged and full, I can write a long story very quickly. I can get a lot done in a few days, what would normally take another writer maybe a month or something. I've been writing for 30 years. You build up skill and speed as you go, right? So my angel was telling me I was pushing myself to keep growing because I was challenging myself in the work I was doing. This wasn't like a regular, just typical thing I've done 100 times before. I was stepping outside my comfort zone. I was pushing myself emotionally, mentally, creatively. I was trying to grow as a person, as a writer in my business. And I was exhausted because what I need to recharge, to thrive, the nutrients that I require just are very limited in my world right now. It's just the condition of the environment. So I trusted that just like Earth seasons, that winter doesn't last forever, and sooner or later spring will come, and I'll be able to tell because those supportive conditions will start to return. And when I feel that, and when I feel renourished and recharged, then I can grow rapidly and continue and pick up where I left off. And you and I both know, probably from personal experience, if not someone's told you, and if not, it's kind of intuitive, I'm sure you can believe and understand that when we take rest, when we pause, when we take breaks, we're actually more productive later. we have the strength and energy to do more, better, faster later. But if we're constantly go, 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 work, 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 push, 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 you can keep going, but your quality is going to gradually diminish because you're exhausted. This is why people take vacations. We need them. It's not a luxury, it's a requirement to stay productive and creative and resourceful and efficient in life and in the world and in business. So I took this guidance to heart and I thought about it and meditated on it a little bit. I'm like, well, how do I know if I'm in a winter season personally or not? And how do I know when it's spring or summertime for me? And as I was praying and asking about that, the answer I got back was it's two things. First, look internally. Do you have energy? Do you have strength? If the answer is no, then you need to rest. If the answer is yes, you have the energy, you have the strength, you have the inner resources, then the next question is look at what's outside you, look at your environment and say, are the conditions around me supportive of my growth right now? Is this a good time in the world for me to be building this business or growing personally in this way or whatever the case might be? And when both are a yes, the environment is supportive for your growth and internally you have the strength and energy for it, you're in springtime or summertime. It's time to grow. But if either one is a no, then maybe you're in fall or winter. And it doesn't mean you need to stop completely. It just means be extra patient with yourself, extra gentle with yourself. Go slower. Set smaller goals and give yourself more time to do it. Take more rest breaks. Because you can still grow in fall and winter seasons. But because the conditions aren't ideal, don't expect yourself to grow as big and as fast as you would during a spring or summer season. Makes sense, right? So that's what I wanted to share with you today. I want to give you permission to rest if that's what you need. What I ended up doing, like this happened to me about a week ago now. And I took it to heart. I was like, okay, you know what? All the work I had planned that day, I scrapped it. And I listened to my body and I'm like, well, what do I need today? And I realized I needed just some self-care. And for me, that looked like snuggling under my cozy blankets for a little bit longer. They're very soft and fuzzy. I love it. And to watch some feel-good movies that I didn't know it at the time, but as I was watching them, it brought up a lot of emotions to the surface that just need to be processed and cleansed out. Like it generated some good cries. Just backed up old emotions that were in my body that needed to be processed, but weren't because I was so busy working. I was so busy focusing on other stuff. But those things need to be taken care of first because they were weighing me down. They were depleting my energy. They were exhausting me. I didn't consciously understand that's what was happening at the time. But because I was ignoring stuff that needed to be addressed mentally and emotionally inside of me, and I kept trying to distract myself with more work, I was getting nowhere and just feeling exhausted. Or I wasn't going nowhere. I was just making very, very slow progress. But because I took a day or two off and listened to my body, took care of myself, in my particular case, what I felt guided, inspired to do was to put on some movies, but it could be anything for you. It could be a bath, a walk in nature, a good book, a massage, who knows, right? Listen to yourself. Listen to the intuition of your own body. It knows what you need. And for me, it was a mental escape from the world and my work and everything going on around me and just live in a fantasy in a movie for a few hours, process and release some backed up emotions that I had been ignoring and repressing and not processing, And then after a couple days, I started feeling better. So your winter season can be very brief, could be longer, depends on what you need. Depends on how exhausted and depleted you are. Obviously, I'm recording a video right now, so I'm feeling better. I have more energy. In fact, yesterday and today, I've been extremely productive. I've been knocking stuff off my checklist left and right. Stuff that's been on there for a long time and I was just never getting around to, and weighed on me and made me, like feel even worse. Like, oh my gosh, all this stuff's on my to-do list and I'm not getting to it. And I'm beating myself up for not being more productive. But I listened to my body, what I needed, and I didn't know it at the time, but what I needed was some emotional release, some emotional processing, a couple of good cries, some honesty with myself and with God. I would pray and talk out loud, like, hey, God, I'm grateful for this, but I'm not okay with this. This needs to change. I can't keep going like this. I would just have an honest heart to heart with God about it. Like I would say it out loud. You don't have to say it out loud, but for me, it was helpful to do that just in the privacy of my own room. And just got it all out. And I started feeling better, started getting a little more energy. And I'm suddenly, it took about a week, but a lot more productive. And I'm on fire now, where I'm like I said, I'm knocking stuff off my to-do list left and right that have been accumulating. So that's the big lesson I learned. You and I, as human beings, still have our own seasons. There are times to be very active and productive, and there are times to take a break. And when we listen to the intuitive rhythm of what's going on in your personal life, when it's time to be active and when it's time to rest, we're highly effective. The rest works really well. Like, I think I watched maybe 3 or 4 movies that day, back to back. It was great. Hadn't done that in a long time. It was exactly what I needed. And it worked. It didn't take much to bring to the surface what needed to come up and to release it, to process it, to feel it and let it go. And like I said, it was only like a couple days of like deep rest. And then gradually there was a little bit of kind of momentum building where I still was taking it easy, but I was becoming slightly more productive, to where it kind of accumulated to the past few days where it's suddenly hyper productive. So your rest, like I said, your rest period, your winter season might only need to be a day or two or a week. It might be months or years. It depends on the need. It depends on what you're going through, how big it is, how deep it is, how long you've been overextending yourself. Listen to the guidance of your own body, and you don't have to like cold turkey completely stop. Like if you still got to go to work to pay the bills or whatever, okay, but just go easy on yourself. Just do the bare minimum that you need to do. Give yourself extra time to achieve whatever goals you need to achieve. Schedule extra time. Allow yourself to go slower. And if one day it's like, you know what, if I only got these 1 or 2 small things done, that's all that's on the plan for today. Okay, great. You still got something done. That's still more than was getting done before, right? So it's okay if your to-do list is small and easy for a while. It's okay if you're only doing the bare minimum for a while. It's really okay, I promise you. And if you're able to do absolutely nothing, and that's what you feel you really need right now, okay, great. Do absolutely nothing. I promise you, you won't be doing nothing forever. At some point, you'll be recharged, you'll be bored, you'll be inspired, and you'll know what the next thing is, and you'll have the energy and direction and inspiration for it. But it was only because you gave yourself that rest period first, because you and I are a part of nature. There's no escaping that. We have our rhythms, we have our cycles. Periods of high activity and low activity, periods of productivity and periods of rest. So thank you so much for watching. My name's David Michaels. I appreciate you. I'll see you in the next video. Love you. Bye.